and I'm Payal Dhavalia from CMDB support team from EMEA region. So I have been with BMC for past 4 years, and I have been engaged with CMDB and RSSO team since the day I joined the organization. So this is about my introduction. And today, what we have planned to discuss in this session is about Configuration Manager Dashboard. This topic and this module is kind of very interesting topic for many of the support people because uh, every application is from one way or the other way related to Configuration Manager Dashboard. So let's start with the agenda of the session and let's see what we are planning to cover in this session. So we are starting with the overview of CMDB, which is also nothing but Configuration Manager Dashboard. Then we'll have a look how the data flows into CMDB. What are the processes that has the input to CMDB? How the data is manipulated or processed, and then it is made available in the production data set for ITSM or TrueSight application. Then we will be discussing about the permissions to access CMDB UI. As an administrator from the support side, we know that admin has full access, AR admin has full access, but we will see what are the specific CMDB permissions that can be provided to a user who is a non-admin. And we will be also talking about configuration dashboard, CMDB dashboard, which has the integrity and completeness, which shows about the health of the data that is being stored in CMDB. We'll talk about class management and the auditing part, class query mapping, dynamic service modeling, and a brief on normalization and reconciliation. I say brief because these are very vast topic and it will be difficult to cover in a single session of 1 hour. So what we are planning, we will be covering in depth of normalization and reconciliation, also ATM integrator on few of the next sessions. But yeah, we will be discussing on the brief of what is normalization and reconciliation. Let's start with overview of Configuration Manager Dashboard. So CMDB is something that holds the data and the information of an organization which can be configured and that cost to a company. Let's say company wants to hold the data of the mobile, computer, softwares that are being in use in their organization for multiple reasons, like keeping a record of how many computer systems they have, servers they have. So that needs to be stored somewhere in the application. And that area where these details, this data are stored is the Configuration Manager dashboard of BMC product. And all these data are termed by CI, which is nothing but configuration items. See here, if we see this diagram, here BMC Atrium CMDB is in the middle. Okay, these are the type of data that can be pushed into CMDB. And what are the applications that uses? So CMDB, it holds the data, but it never uses those data. It has no purpose to use that data. It is the other related applications which uses the data, like problem management, change management for impact simulation, service management for relating work order or any business service with the SRM, and then incident management for the CI relationship. And then also there are multiple incident assignments which are also being done with the CI. Okay, so these are the applications that uses the CMDB data, and we also have TrueSight application which uses CMDB data for event generation. Okay, here comes the data flow details. What are the input parameters or the sources to BMC CMDB? The main and the most used by customer is your discovery application. Discovery application, it discovers the CIs and the relationship and pushes the data into CMDB. Under the dataset, bmc.addm, I use the term dataset because any external source which is pushing the data into CMDB does not do a data push into bmc.asset, which is a production dataset, because we are not sure that the third party or discovery application which is sending the data, how correct is that? We are not sure. We need to make sure that this is made consistent with the system and with the standard of organization. And that is why we use staging data sets to bring in the data, we do the normalization reconciliation, and finally it is then made public for asset admin or the end users to be used. Okay, BMC Discovery is one of the source. We have Atrium Integrator, which is a third party, which is integrated with third party application Pentaho, which is an extract, transform, load tool. So AI, what it does, it connects to a third-party database, brings in the data, do the transformation, and then finally load it into the CMDB. So when we are using Atrium Integrator also, we are not pushing the data directly into BMC.asset. We are pushing it into another staging data set. If it is something that can be mapped with existing data sets, well and good. If not, customer needs to create a data set, okay, and then push it to CMDB. Once it has come in here, normalization happens. Okay, what normalization will do? It will correct the category, type, item, product name, and manufacturer of the CI, which in turn connects with the product catalog in the system. Then after this 5 parameters are being corrected in normalization, it will pass for reconciliation. Reconciliation is a very important process which is being in use in CMDB. This reconciliation can help in having consistent data. Also, it can lead to the duplicate data. So we need to be very sure about the identification rules and the configurations that we have in reconciliation to make sure production data set is not impacted, is not duplicated, or is not it's not updated incorrectly. Okay, so we will be talking about how different sources on participates on reconciliation to update a single production data set. Okay, so once we have this data set, the data into bmc.asset, it is being available by the asset management console and other consumers. Okay, and now whenever we are, or any asset admin, whenever they are making any changes, those changes are again not directly reflected on the asset data. Okay, those changes are created in a sandbox data set, and then reconciliation runs for BMC asset sandbox, which pushes the data into asset. So here as well, any asset admin or any end user who has a permission to edit a CI will not be able to update asset directly, because again, we are not sure if that user has the correct information or not. That is why we create a sandbox data set entry for containing those changes. Reconciliation will check which data set is having high precedence, if this update is feasible to be updated or not. If not, then it will stop that update. If yes, then it will pass that update or merge that value to bmc.assets data set. Let's have a look on the permission to access CMDB UI. So generally, as I mentioned previously as well, from the support side, we generally have the administrator permission, AR administrator permission. So we get all access to the CMDB UI, but there are cases in the actual scenario of customer organization that a user is a non-AR admin, but he wants to have access to the CMDB UI, the complete CMDB as an admin. So how do we get that achieved? Okay, so for that, the permission RE definition author and AI admin group is something of use. RE definition author, it will give the complete feature permission except for Atrium integrator. That is why we need to assign the user with AI admin group so that he can access Atrium integrated section, Atrium integrator module of CMDB UI. Asset admin cannot perform the configuration part on CMDB side. What he can do is he can have the access to search and edit the CI using CMDB Explorer. Okay, so until here we understood about the permission part. Let's have a look on the overview of CMDB portal. So for this, for the next complete time, we will be going through a demo session. We won't be, yeah, let's have a demo session started for this. How do we access CMDB UI? I know many of us know how do we access, but just to give an explanation, is my screen font okay, or should I increase the font size?
A little bit, while increasing the font will help.
Okay, sure. Okay.
looking much better.
So, okay, thanks, Arun. Yeah. So here, Atrium Core, we go to Configuration Manager dashboard, and this takes us to CMDB URL. Here, since this is not integrated with RSSO, I got a login page again. Otherwise, if my system would have been RSSO integrated, it would be a direct launch. Yeah. So now once we log into CMDB UI, this is the first page that we see. Okay. It shows the health of CMDB data that is being present in our current system. It shows the percentage on integrity side, completeness side, and if we scroll down, we have this data flow structure. How do we use that, and what data or what kind of information this circles are representing? Let's talk about that. Integrity. Okay, this shows that my system is at 49% integrity green, and rest is having some issue. Completeness is fine, it's 100%. So if I go to integrity, if I click on that, it shows me the list and the count of orphan CIs. This is the total. I can go on the different sections to see which are the orphans and which are the duplicates. Okay. So here are the list of 3,400 CIs that are orphan in my system. And here is the list of 1914 which are under the list of duplicates. Let's discuss now what define this orphan CIs, how this orphan CI is being found out by the system. Okay, so these are the CIs in class BMC core BMC application service. What is an orphan CI? Orphan CI is nothing but a CI which is related to a source. Okay, under a relationship class which is referred as a weak reference. Okay, so that kind of destination CI or right endpoint becomes an orphan CI if the parent is missing. Let's say there is a relationship, test relationship having A and B CI related, and this relationship class is a weak relationship class, but somehow this relationship is present, but the source has been deleted, and the removal on the relationship did not happen. In that case, my CI will be considered, my destination CI will be considered as a weak CI because its strong CI, parent CI, is missing. Now, in this case, let's have a look for this data. I'll just open this. I'll open the CI in application service and let's see to which parent it is related to, or if it's missing a parent relationship, or what is the scenario which has caused this CI to be visible in the orphan list. I'll go to application service. So this is the CI ADDM asset. Okay, this has been reported as orphan. If I click on view relationship, I see it's related to one of the application software server, and let's see under which relationship class it exists. Okay, it exists in application system service. Okay, I'll open this in class management to see if it's a weak relationship or not. Okay, so it's under the component. Here, if I click on edit, yeah, so it's a weak reference. Okay, this relationship under which the reported CI is present is a weak relationship class. Okay, and but the thing is, it is also having, if we see the relationship and if I click on view related CI, then let's see if the parent is available or not. Okay, parent is Apache Tomcat software server. Okay, so see, this parent is also present. Now, what has made this destination CI to be an orphan? Okay, so there is another parameter which comes into picture, which is rel led instance ID. If that is null, then your CI is going to be termed as orphan by the system. Okay, how do we know that if it is null or not? So we go to this CI, take a report of it. In the report, just take these two fields, rel led instance ID and rel led class ID. These two should be updated for a CI, for a weak CI. If it is not updated, if it's null, then that will be considered as an orphan, because system is finding that it is related with a weak reference, but the rel led instance ID and class ID is missing, and that is why I have it listed on my integrity orphan list. So we need to now work on the data to make sure that this is updated. So one way of doing is we need to first find out how and why this has happened. Maybe the data, the staging data which brought these state details did not had the proper ADDM. It did not bring in the relationship properly. So all that data level of investigation would be needed further to that. But the basic root cause would be missing rel-led instance ID and rel-led class ID. Okay, so this is how the orphan is being decided in the integrity chart. Let's talk about the duplicates, how these duplicate CIs are being found by the system. So if we see the details which are mentioned over here in the integrity exception, here error description says duplicate instance found, rule to name. Okay, how and where did it find this rule? Which rule it is referring to? This rule is from the reconciliation standard rule. Okay, so if we go to configuration reconciliation identification rule standard, that was for my business service class. Here, if we see this rule, priority 2, it's based on the name. So my system has two CIs in bmc.asset under class BMC core business, BMC business service with the same name, finance. Let's have a check if this is showing the correct detail or not. Okay, it's finance. I'll just make a search. Finance and asset. Okay, so if you see one finance under bmc.asset, and there is other finance under bmc.asset, and that is the reason I have it present on the integrity list. If you see the token IDs are different, and that is why it did not mention duplicate found based on result 1. The error was duplicate found based on the name. Okay. Yeah. So this is about the integrity. Let's talk about the completeness part. What does completeness hold? Here in this completeness, my report is showing 0 record, okay, because I don't have, so which kind of CIs match for this completeness exception? So these are the missing attributes. If let's say we have a CI in computer system, it has name, it has short description, serial number, but it is missing host name and domain. Okay, then it will say that this particular CI is under the completeness exception because it is missing one or two of the mandatory fields. Where do we define this completeness attributes that needs to be compared? It's in the configuration dashboard parameter completeness. Here, if you see, let me take to the computer system. See, here we have all these attributes provided, which should be checked for missing attribute. Let's see if this CI is missing token ID or domain or host name or serial number or any of this value, then it will be under the completeness exception. Token ID generally for computer system or some other class, we don't have token ID passed, but by default it is generated with 0. So 0 is also a some value for the system. That will not come under completeness exception because system will consider 0 as a value and will say it's not missing that attribute. So if you want that token ID should not be a part of completeness check, you can remove this attribute from here because this might cause a bit of confusion that the CI is completely updated and has all the attributes, but actually it might not have. So this is the part on completeness. So any queries until here? Or shall we proceed further?
Hey, Payal, this is Kranti. I'm the CSS. I work for Customer Success Org. Um, so, configuration management dashboard, right? So you spoke about configuration management database in that slide, but dashboard is
Hmm.
something that you're showing now, right now, right? It just displays the data about integrity or completeness. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, so it's not just the data, it also contains the configurable configurations that can be done. So that we are planning, we are going next. But yeah, now we just talked about the data, what it is showing, but it does hold all the configuration details as well.
Yeah, so whatever you're showing now is the whole is considered to be a configuration manager dashboard.
Yeah, this complete page is considered, this complete UI is considered as CMDB UI or configuration manager dashboard UI.
Okay. My second query was about completeness, right? So you did show about configuration for completeness. If let's say host name is missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If if the host name is missing and those are some of them that you showed are mandatory attributes, right? Why don't reconciliation rules capture and then doesn't reconcile when it's coming into BMC asset?
Okay, yeah. See, host name, domain, or those fields are not a mandatory field to create a computer system CI. Okay, those are the core attribute, but not the mandatory for computer system CI creation. So it depends on your source. That is why CMDB data, whatever is present, needs to make sure that the source which is bringing data holds that data. Reconciliation will not update itself. If your source is not bringing, reconciliation will not update a random value to BMC asset. Source needs to have a value so that asset can have it. And that is
Okay.
why reconciliation did not update because reconciliation did not find a value on the source. Then it will not obviously update the target.
Okay. And on the weak relationship that you mentioned, right? So the
Hmm.
weak relationship class, the class is defined as one of the check marks that you showed, which says weak relationship, right? So when you went to the class
Right.
management and saw that, so is it something that the admin configured saying that this particular class is weak relationship? Is that during the configuration phase?
See, these are the out of the box classes which comes as it is. But yeah, these are something configurable. If you see this one, this is a checkbox. If you don't want this relationship class to be a weak class, then you can leave as it is. You can uncheck and save it. But we do not suggest modifying a weak reference to a strong reference for out of the box relationship class because there are multiple criteria, multiple checks which are in place, and that might cause invalid data to be visible in integrity. So we don't suggest any changes on weak reference part for out of the box classes that are provided. For the custom ones, they can do as per their need. Customer can do as per their need, but not for the out of the box.
Okay. Okay. If I have to know what are the parameters that define this as weak reference, will you be able to send me a link or something that I can refer to?
Sure. I can share you a link. There is no, I mean, we don't have any document that gives a clear-cut idea. Okay, 1, 2, 3 weak reference,
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3 not present, strong reference. Okay, there are very different kind of various checks that happens. So I'll try to build something for you, and I can pass that to you. But as a document side, we don't have anything which holds the concrete data on weak reference part. What defines a weak reference? This is one of the parameter, but there are other parameters as well which are considered.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So,
Kranti, as a hint, you can consider a class or as a weak or strong. If you have a relationship, one-to-one relationship,
mhm.
it will be always strong. You cannot do a weak relation for that. Only for one-to-many is when you can do a weak reference. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
For example,
Okay.
computer system can have 2 monitors, 2 processors, is one-to-many or many-to-one. So that is when you can use weak. But if this is, one-to-one, you cannot do it.
Okay.
Just as a hint. Okay.
Thanks, Ilya. All right. Thanks, Payal. Appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot. Okay. So any further questions, or shall we move to our next topic, normalization and reconciliation? Okay, let's move to normalization part. So this is a short diagram which I have presented here. It contains a very basic of process. I mean, very basic understanding of normalization. But yeah, for sure, normalization is much more than this. But I'll be just giving an overview of what actually normalization does. Okay, so here, if you see, I have two data. Okay, one is bringing category type item as software application third party, and manufacturer name as Microsoft, product name as Microsoft Doc 2012. Same for the other one, CTI is same, but there is a change in the manufacturer and product. Manufacturer is Microsoft Corp and product is MS Word 2012. Okay, but as a remedy or CMDB admin, I know that these two products are referring to Microsoft Word 2012, and manufacturer Microsoft Corp is nothing but it is nothing but the Microsoft manufacturer only. So what normalization will do is it will have a look on the aliases. We have a form, normalization alias mapping form. So it will have a look to find if there is any alias present, and based on that, it will decide that it's not a new product. It's not something new. It's an existing product in the product catalog, but with a different name. It will find which names are present on normalization alias form, and it will then do the processing. And the final result of CTI manufacturer and product name would be the one, or would be the same that is present on the product catalog. And this is how normalization works on this. So there are multiple other features that we have on normalization. Okay, here if we go on the normalize, see, this is the console for normalization. For creating a job, we have this option of create job. It gives us an option. Name can be anything. We define, the most important part is the data set that we define. Generally or from the BMC side, it is not recommended to have a normalization on BMC asset, because BMC asset is a target. So the source must be normalized. So if the source is normalized, target will obviously be normalized. So there is no need of putting any normalization job for BMC.asset. Okay, so once you select this value, rest all other features are enabled. If you see in here, relationship, impact, how did these values get checked mark? Because it's different for each of the data set that I will select. For let me select for ADDM. Okay, I think I don't have multiple changes on this part. So from where these configurations are coming, let me just show you that. Configuration, manage normalization rule, dataset configuration. From here, if you select any of it and click on edit, we get this options of CTI only, name and CTI. Enable normalization is for batch or the scheduled jobs. Inline is for as soon as the data enters into the system, it will be first normalized and then pushed into the system, or would be made available. Approve, allow unapproved CI is something which is by default checked, but if organization is very strict on the product categorization, product catalog, then they can have this unchecked. Allow new product catalog entry is to create a new entry if the product catalog is not present. Let's say in this example that I showed you, let's say MS Word 2012 and Microsoft Corp. This aliases were not present on the alias form. Then, and the feature allow new product creation is enabled. The normalization will create a new entry for this combination on product catalog form. So that is the feature of allow new product catalog entry. And then we have this feature. So as I mentioned, we will be talking in the next session about the details. So I'll just cut short this. And normalization rule, we have class configuration, features, catalog mapping. Class configuration is to add a new class. Let's say customer has created a new class, new custom class, and he wants to add it for normalization. He can add it from here. He can select the class name from the drop down. Okay, then we have reconciliation. Let's have a quick check on the reconciliation part, what actually reconciliation does. So once the data is normalized, now it moves to reconciliation, where let's say we have two sources, okay, ADDM and SCCM. ADDM is also bringing host name, model, software, and version. SCCM is also bringing the same four attributes, okay. But as an admin, CMDB admin, I know that ADDM is more trustworthy on host name and model part, and SCCM is more trustworthy on the software and version. So what I do is, on the reconciliation side, I define the precedence. Okay, I define high precedence for ADDM for the attribute of host name and model, and for software and version, I provide high precedence for SCCM. So now when the reconciliation will run and merge will happen, then my BMC asset data will look something like this: host name and model from ADDM, software and version from SCCM. So this is how the multi-sources on the CMDB is used and reconciled to bring a single asset data, which is having the accurate details that can be used by the applications. What are the structures of reconciliation job? It has ID, identification activity, merge activity. Identify activity works on the identification rule set. It can be standard or custom. Merge is something which is used to define the precedences based on the different data sets. And qualification set is generally used for investigation purpose. Let's say we have an issue where CIs are not reconciling. So we want to run reconciliation for a single CI, because that will give a more proper logs. So we can use qualification set. Let me just show you any one of ADDM or any one of the reconciliation job. So here, if you see, use standard rules for dataset is yes, which means it's using out of the box identification rules. It has, first would be identify, second would be merge, and purge is optional if you want to purge or not. Purge is deleting the CIs having mark is deleted, yes. If you click on this, these are the ID rules. If you want to check for any of the class what ID rule is working or why the reconciliation is not happening, you can have a check on these rules. This shows the ID rule. So I know I had been very quick on giving the demo on normalization and reconciliation, but any questions around this? The troubleshooting part and more detail we will be doing in next session. But until till now, whatever I have explained on this part, any queries on that? Okay, so yeah, I take that as a no, and I'll proceed further. Manage Atrium Integrator. It's all the list of jobs that are present on your spoon. This console helps you in scheduling. From this console, the only thing that we can do is the schedule part for the AI. For modification or anything, we need to log into the third-party application Pentaho. Okay, now next let's have a check. How do we create a new data set? Which place has... Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So are you planning to cover a separate session for Pentaho, or are you planning to cover it as part of this session?
No. See, these are very vast topics, and it will be difficult to cover in this session. So for normalization reconciliation, we'll be discussing with Varun on this once. So normalization reconciliation will be a one session, and Atrium Integrator will be another session.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Thanks, Payal.
Yeah. Okay. Now on the data sources, we have these options: manage data source, add new data source. From manage data source, we can add a new data set. we give a name. Let's say we are planning for ATM integrator import in CMDB. So we don't want to use any of the out of the box. So we just create a new data set with some some name which refers to which particular AI job would be linking in. So accordingly, we can name that and the data set. And here we get the list of data sets. Where is it? Yeah, here is the total list of data sets that are present in the system. 15, these are the 15 data sets which are present in the system. Okay. So here is the data set. Now, this CI update option, it just shows the list of CIs that has been edited as of today. What has been edited will not be shown over here because it's not the audit part. It's just it will find last modified date. Yes, it has modified after today. Then it will just make that CI visible over here. If you want to change the time frame, here we have the time frame today, last 7 days, and all other options. So we can change that as well to see if we want to take a look on the past data which were updated in CMDB. So this, I mean, it's the use case. If you ask me, there are various way of getting this data used. It depends on customer, but yeah, I mean, it depends on customer to customer that how they want to use this option of CI updates. And this data, the same data is visible over here as well. This data flow that you see, CI updates. This is nothing but the calculation which is brought in from here. Okay, then we have this class query mapping. What is this class query mapping? This is one of the area which is not widely used by the customers, but it has quite high importance when it comes to the true site integration with CMDB. Okay, let's see what it is. So monitoring tool and integration, okay, which here in this case is nothing but the true site for BMC, okay, true site. So whenever any incident is generated, any event is generated by the true site, okay, or any other monitoring tool, then it is expected that the integration should create an incident on the remedy side. When it is creating a incident, a CI should be linked so that whoever the case is or the incident is assigned knows that what service has broken down. This is mostly used for the business service CIs or the technical service CIs, like let's say Outlook. Let's say for due to some reason Outlook is down for the organization. Instead of creating a manual incident, what happened when the server is down, an event is triggered to the monitoring tool. And that event connects with ITSM integration and informs, passes the detail of an incident creation and the details of the CI. Okay, this is being taken as an input by ITSM integration. Then ITSM integration decides and checks if it's a simple query or a complex query. If it's a simple query, it will directly fetch the data from CMDB, create an incident, attach the CI, and pass that information to the monitoring tool. If let's say it's a very complex query, okay, and it's difficult for the CMDB to identify. So what will happen using class query mapping? CMDB will use its own qualification using few of the data that are being passed by ITSM to find the CI. Once the CI is found, it will attach that CI to the incident and pass it to the, and that information will be passed to the monitoring tool. So how that looks like. Okay, so here is the class query mapping. This class query mapping is also available in the quick search. Here, if you see, this is present. Okay, let me just show you for computer system. These are something, some of it are out of the box. Okay, for computer system. See, here is the query name that has been used. What has been put in the query, we can check from here. Edit. See, this is the thing which is used here. So what happened? It just make a qualification, whatever host name is coming from the ITSM. Okay, host and domain, or just with the host name. It will do a comparison. Let's say event TrueSight or the monitoring tool has passed lot of details like host name, IP address, and there are too many stuff that it has passed, and it has made the query very complex. So what CMDB will do, instead of going in that level of search, it will just make a simple search based on host name, domain, or just the host name, and accordingly it will find the CI. So that will reduce the time that CMDB will take to find the CI and provide it to ITSM. So it's just for the performance part. So any query around this?
Pile, Kranti again. Sorry. So you have to do 2 clicks to come here, right? So first you need to find out the query name, and then you need to look up that query name. Is there no easy way to directly display that? Like if you go back to your query mapping, class query mapping.
Yeah, let me just check that.
You clicked on computer system.
Yeah, computer system. Just 1 second, I'll refresh it.
And then you have to take up the name from there.
Yeah, so I just clicked on edit. Yeah,
Yeah.
but here we don't see the query. What is the query is in use?
Okay. So, okay. You need to go to different way of searching it and then search it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now next would be our dynamic service modeling. So dynamic service modeling is also a kind of automation for building the relationship with business service. So here the list of options that we see is business service, technical service, and applications. And these are others, but I did not explore what kind of CIs are visible over here. But yeah, on this, business service will be CIs which are present in business service class, technical service, and then application on application class. So let me show you a demo of what exactly happened over here. Okay, let's say this is one of the business service. On asset. If I click on view relationship, I won't have anything related right now. Okay, I have one email related. Okay, so now what I'll do is I had already created a query. I will create a query. Okay, I'll drag the class that I need from here. Okay, for example, now I'm taking BMC core computer system. If you edit, you see that I have put in a qualification name equals to Optiplex. So here I am for the demo, I have taken the specific one, but it can be multiple ones. I mean, you can give a wild search kind of criteria so that list of CIs matching that criteria is shown. You can do a test query that gives me the result of that CI. Okay, I click update for because this was already created. Now let me just get this query run. I'll set it to 1 minute and save this. Okay, so we will wait for a minute until this TSM query triggers, and it relates this personal productivity business service with the computer system Optiplex 9020. Okay, so meanwhile this is running. Let me show you few of the backend forms which are related with DSM. So these are the forms. It contains the log, scan config, and scan query. Let's have a look and check what details gets captured over here. Yeah, see, it contains the schedule of it. So I guess this is the one that has been newly created. Let's wait until this last scan is updated.
Yeah, until then,
So
Pile, can you repeat that dynamic service modeling stuff again until this runs, right? Just a definition kind of a thing. You said something, dynamic service modeling, what it does?
yeah, so it creates relationship with any other CI with the business service class. Okay, business, let's say you don't want to do a manual relation, okay, and you know that a specific type of other class CI is needed to be related with business service. Let's say you want all the servers starting with name BMC should be related with personal productivity. So you create a test query, okay, you select the class and you provide a qualification, and
Okay.
that qualification will be used, and whatever CIs matches this qualification, you can also do a test query. Whatever CI matches this qualification will be related to your business service.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Sure. See, now this has been updated. Initially, we had found that my CI, personal productivity business service, was just related with one CI. Okay, if I refresh it, you see it got related with Optiplex 9020 as well. So this is also a kind of automation that can help you for the dynamic service modeling. So it's a very simple query that I showed you. It depends on if you want to build a kind of complex query. So that can also be done based on the requirement.
So where we use this DSM file, will it be like when a business service A related to an incident? So all those
No, no, no.
related that way?
No, Sunita, not for the incident relationship. It's all for the relationship creation. So it has nothing to be related with the incident or change request. It's all about the business service as an individual. It has many servers related, and sometimes customers follow a similar pattern of server naming. Okay, let's say if we have Cargill will follow the server naming as Cargill 1, 2, 3, 4, and and these are the entries on the server on the computer system. And Cargill want that personal computing should be related with all the computer system having Cargill in its name. So instead of doing any one by one or creating a new AI job or using any other method, they can directly use dynamic service modeling. They can write a query, and all the CIs having content of Cargill as a name will get auto-related with personal computing.
So is there any business like usage of it other than just creating relationship? Anywhere it will get utilized, that business service CI. That is what I wanted. Like as
Okay. So no, I mean any other applications which are consuming this will not be, will not be having usage of it. But maybe for the reporting purpose, if customer wants a report like this business service is related to which all, so for that exporting purpose or a reporting purpose, they can have this used. It's not related to, I mean, this is not going to help any other remedy application as such.
okay.
Yeah, it's just for the relationship building.
And especially between these two, right? Business service CI and any other CIs, it has to be built. It's
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Right. And any specific use case is something we need to find, because we have not seen many customers coming and explaining the use case. What we have seen is customer has issues with the relationship creation, but they never, we never got to know the actual use cases that they are having internally. Maybe we can explore that part, Sunita, on what is the actual usage of it.
Is there any like we have a recon specific to this, is it, which will run as well?
Yeah,
Atrium
there is a
related?
recon. Right, this one, Atrium Explorer.
Yeah. I had seen some issues with this actually. This was not enabled actually for a particular customer.
Right,
So their DSM was not working. So that's why.
exactly. See, what happened is if I see this relationship, right, there is a DSM entry which is created. This is not directly done on the asset level. If I make a search on with reconciliation ID, there will be an entry on DSM. See, BMC Sandbox
DSM
DSM.
sandbox, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
recon runs
right.
on this sandbox, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a bit confusing. Like when we see BMC Sandbox DSM, we get confused which recon is being used. So yeah, this is a good point that Sunita you highlighted. Yeah. So this is the job which is in backend. This reconciliation job is something which is in use for pushing data or reconciling DSM data into asset.
File, if you
Okay.
check the relationship, right, there is a dummy value attached there, right? Here, if you see the destination name, that's because it's a DSM data set, is that? Later, I think in the asset
Yeah,
proper.
we don't have this on DSM now. So that is why it has just made some, because we don't have this business service in the DSM.
Right, right.
Somehow, yes, this would be present my computer system because I was doing a bit of testing before the demo. So this could have been retained, but this is not present, I guess. And that is why we see the name as dummy.
Let's go to asset one. There it would be the correct business service area.
Correct one.
Because there
Yeah.
it's present, yeah.
Yeah, see, asset is having personal
Yeah.
productivity, the actual name.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so next we'll move to class management. Class management helps us in creating or editing, modifying the classes. This is the super class for CI, and this is the super class for relationships. Okay, and so what I wanted to show over here is the auditing part. So see this option here that we see is add subclass. This button helps us in creating a class. Okay, these are the minimum details that are being needed: class name, audit type, okay, none, copy, log, and that's all. A class would be created. Okay, and for attribute creation, we just scroll a bit down in the attribute section. We have plus add that helps in creating attribute. So in this, what we suggest is not to provide the field ID for the customers while creating an attribute. Let the system decide, because what happens when we are putting in something that could be conflict with some other form or any of the subclasses to which the field would propagate. So we suggest that let the system decide the field ID, and only the required fields should be passed by the users while creating the attribute. Here is the menu that user can select. And yeah, so these are the options that we have for the attributes. These are the type of attributes that we can select: selection, integer, decimal, time, date time, real. Okay, so now let's talk about the auditing part. So how that auditing helps us. Let's say I'm taking the printer class, okay? So I have enabled the audit for this as copy, okay? So now whenever I'm making a search for a CI of the printer class, I get this audit option on the top. Shows CI details. Here you see simulate impact, map related CIs, and CI audit. If the audit is not enabled on the class level, it won't be visible. So class level audit has to be enabled for this option. And when you click on this, for now, it's showing 0 record for me. If I modify anything, then also it will show 0 because none of my attribute is having audit. So just having the class enabled audit will not help in capturing the data. We need to make sure with class attributes are also enabled for the audit so that we can see. So this shows a very good report, like what operation was done, who was the submitter, when it was done, and what attribute has been changed. So all these details, and it also can be exported to CSV. So this feature is very good to track the important fields of an CI. So any question around this? I think we are also near to the time of the session. So maybe we will end our session over here and we'll give this 5 minutes for the question and answer.
Sure, pal.
Hey, Payal, coming back to permissions, right? Go ahead, Sunita.
No, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so for the permissions, right? You said admin and then RE admin auth or something like that. Can you differentiate again? I lost that somehow. Yeah.
Sure,
RE
sure.
definition auth.
See, okay. See, RE definition author gets the access to all the features of CMDB UI. Okay, if I show you from this perspective, if I had RE definition author permission, I would be able to see all this stuff that are visible over here. The only thing that will not be visible to me would be manage atrium integrator. because that managed atrium integrator is not compounded with RE definition author. Now, in case you want the user to be also able to schedule or run AI atrium integrator job from the console, then you need to specify that user with AI admin group. And these two things, AI admin group and RE definition author, are not present on CTM people. You need to add that from user form. CTM
from
people will not have.
got it. So what was the use case? Typical, why we came up with those two permissions?
Okay. Yeah. See, like all the customers, they won't want that a CMDB UI should be having an admin UI, an admin permission for the whole of the application of Remedy. Or there are customers who just want to install CMDB. They don't want to go with ITSM because ITSM installation comes after CMDB.
Mm-hmm.
So the customer do not have ITSM. So they are just stuck. They don't have CTM people. They just have user form.
Okay.
Because CTM people is part of ITSM. So how does those users get an admin CMDB UI if they are not an administrator or AR administrator? So this is using this concept, we came up with having a different permission for CMDB UI.
Okay, got you. Thanks, Kyle.
Sure, no problem. Sunita, you had something?
Yeah, for regarding that audit, right? We can enable that for all existing out of the box field as well, like a hidden field as well, is it? Whichever we can see from the class manager.
Yeah, whatever we can see from here, we can.
Okay.
But we need to be on that class itself. Like is virtual is not it's a propagated attribute, but
Yeah.
I mean equipment does not hold is virtual. So we need to enable audit for is virtual on base element level.
Okay. Like this array, this ready to merge done. This will be held in this reconciliation merge status, I think, right? One of the field. Actually, we were facing one
Yeah,
issue for
reconciliation merge. Right. This one.
So it will not, will it create any performance related issue? Like we can just come here and enable, is it on the class level? So it will be captured in the next changes, anything that can be taken as a report, is it?
Yeah, right. But again, Sunita, I mean this parameter is a very is kind of continuous changing parameter. So that will create lot of audit for a single record. So maybe having an audit enabled for this field will not. I mean, if it's a part of issue investigation for the
Issue
time being, we can
investigation,
do
then we
that.
have to revoke
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, after that we should remove because that might cause performance issue because reconciliation handles thousands and lakhs of data.
Right.
It will create an audit for each of the record. So that's kind of that might cause performance issue.
Yeah, risky actually. Yeah.